Welcome to Rock the Life, a podcast for fans by fans. I'm Katya.
I'm Amy.
Today we are honored to bring you a conversation with a musician whose journey reads like a roadmap of rock itself, Jaron Gulino.
Right?
He's from New Jersey, where we seem to find all amazing musicians seem to come from. And he's carved out a powerful career in the hard rock world, grounding his sound in emotion and groove. He's not only part of legacy bands, he's been in Tantric. He has played with Heaven's Edge, the classic Philadelphia kind of hard rock glam metal band. And now he is with the band who all bands seem to lead through, and that is
All roads.
Lynch Mob. All roads lead
Lead
through
to George
Lynch
Lynch.
Mob.
Yep.
And he
Oh,
is a very versatile musician who has,
amazing.
yeah, he's just been in music. He's keeping the music going, and he's just a great bass player. So I'm excited to talk about his musical journey and what is going on with him.
Me too. You guys, before we get started, I just want to tell you thank you so much for all of your support of our show. We really enjoy doing this, and I hope that that comes through and is reflected. One of the ways that there are different ways that you can actually support the podcast. One, of course, by liking, subscribing, and sharing the show with your friends. Another would be to rock your Rock the Life merch. You can look at all of the offerings there at rtlmerch.com. A couple of other ways are things that I personally am involved with that helps to cover the expenses of the podcast. All of the links for everything that I'm about to mention is in the description. So please feel free to check that out. And if you have any questions, you can send me a DM or an email at amy.rockthelife@outlook.com. I have partnered and been a part of Counter Beauty for a decade. I know Counter Beauty is new, but Beauty Counter before that was a big part of my life. I really enjoy helping people with their skincare and their makeup. So if you need some help or you're a little bit curious, reach out to me. I'd love to help you meet your skin's needs. Also, I have partnered with Apothecary. These are amazing little tinctures that you take throughout the day, anytime you need them. We have stress support, metabolism support, gut support, relaxing in the evening support, like if you're tired of having like a glass of wine every night because you know that overall that's not good for you and ultimately it's not helping you. We have substitutes for that. If that sounds like something that would be beneficial to you, please feel free. Again, amy.rockthelife@outlook.com. I'd love to help you with that. Both of these companies right now have Black Friday offerings that would be very beneficial and helpful to get you started at a significant savings. So, you guys, I have received some support already from you guys, and I really appreciate it. It really helps us cover the cost of the podcast. So I just wanted to say thank you. It is a little business that we don't usually attend to, but it is very helpful. So thank you for supporting the show and looking into those things.
You forgot to mention Vegas.
And one more very exciting thing. Rock the Life is going to be in Vegas for the Def Leppard residency, February 21st of 2026. We would love to see you. We'd love to have you join us. We have a group going already. Most of us for that time are staying at Caesar's Palace. You don't have to stay there, but you can come, connect, wear your Rock the Life t-shirt so that we can find you easily. Come and have a really great time. Andrew Freeman is looking at doing something on like a rock and roll church on Sunday night. And we are looking at different guests that might be able to make it and kind of join us on our really good time. So you guys, now that all that said, without further ado, here's Jaron.
Hi, Jaron. Welcome to Rock the Life. How are you doing?
Hey, great. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so first I want to ask, and I was jumping the gun asking this, are we catching you on the road right now
Yeah,
or at home?
it's a little bit of both. So I'm on the East Coast. So luckily, because of our East Coast shows this weekend, I was able to come home and get some days with family and, kind of regroup and get everything together. But yes, we are on the road and we will be playing Virginia at the Tally Ho Theater tomorrow in Leesburg. And then Saturday, we're playing Pitts Peak in the Poconos. Yeah, a little bit of both, home and on the road at the same time.
Wait, which night is Halloween? Is Halloween Friday or Saturday night?
It'll be Friday night tomorrow.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, it's tomorrow.
You know, that's how I feel.
Okay. So are you dressing up?
We have yet to decide. We've talked about quite a few different options and things to do, but I don't know that we've come to an agreement just yet. So I think so. I just don't know what to expect.
Okay.
Right?
No, that will be
That'll be
fun.
exciting. Last minute.
I,
That's always fun.
I better get my act together because I have some Halloween stuff to do tomorrow. So yes.
Anything.
Okay. So okay, Jaron, I have to ask you. We're in 2025, so that's when we're recording. This is October of 2025. What
Mm-hmm.
have you been doing all year?
No.
We're just gonna try to like do 2025 because there is so much going on in your life.
Yeah, there is.
Mm-hmm.
So, aside from finding myself, we came off of the final ride back in March, which was
Mm-hmm.
Lynch Mob tour.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of transitioned to I'm not quite sure what's going to go on, with George and the band from there. So I had been doing some shows with XYZ and Heaven's Edge, which is another band that I play with. We were talking about starting a new
Yes.
record back in May. And so that was kind of like
Oh yeah.
the first half of the year. That was kind of what it looked like for the rest of the year. But it ended up turning out that George wanted to keep going a little bit longer. So we regrouped with Lynch Mob and began playing back out in the summer and slowly, into the fall here, we kind of got back up to speed. So we've been doing that. We did start recording the new Heaven's Edge record, and that will be something I'll be tackling here in the next couple of months, or the next month or so. Actually, the sooner the better with that. But outside of that, all sorts of things. We've been doing this Rise of the Decades tour with George, which is something separate from Lynch Mob, where he does exclusively Dokken material with a few different guests and singers and things like that. So we've been doing that this year, and we've been doing all sorts of shows with Dokken. He's been doing the Dokken encores, and I've been helping him with that. And then in terms of myself, I've got another group of records coming out under the L.I.F.E project band, which is with Sandra and Josh Rand.
Yeah.
Those records have been 3 years in the making and are done, and everything's completed. So hopefully those will come out sooner than later. I thought maybe they would be out
Right.
already, but kind of just in a holding pattern for that. But between all those different things, I've done some stuff with a buddy of mine, Nikki B. Hannes. It's kind of like a blues album. We did some of that. Uh, Always just a million different things going on. So I try to fill my time the best I can.
Oh my gosh, that is
Right.
okay. So, and did you on the George or the Lynch Mob record that just came out that you were unveiling? Did you write on that one? Did
Um,
you write songs?
a little bit. I worked on lyrics and melodies on a few of the songs, and one in particular, Machine Bone, is something that ended up sticking. So I do have some writing credits on that, and of course, I came up with all the bass parts for the record. But um, that album comes out Black Friday, next month, and I'm very, very, very excited. It came out really, really good, and that's something that's been hard to kind of hold on to and hold, because it's just like I want it to be out there. I want to, get it to the people, and it's something that I'll be proud of forever. So there's a bit of anticipation and excitement there, and yeah, we all kind of contributed a little bit here and there, but with George, it's a very definitive process. He goes in and allots him amount of days to write, and he just knocks out what he needs to, and then sends it to the next guy, to the next guy, to the next guy. So we do collaborate to an extent, but it's mainly his baby.
Okay, that
I
makes
love
sense.
it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I love
And
it.
then for Heaven's Edge, have you been writing music for them? Or
Um,
I'm just trying to figure out how you're fitting everything in.
Right.
it's hard because with the windows of time, during the week is usually my crunch time. I'm not only doing managerial business stuff musically, for the bands, but the creative side of it's a huge part of that. So between all the different projects, I try to contribute as much as I can. But with Heaven's Edge, I did contribute a bit. We had 30 songs picked out to pick from for this
Oh.
record. So
Oh,
we kind of cherry picked from that and picked 10 or 11 that we felt were strongest. So um, I think by the time we get done tracking it, like I'll have put my little spin on what they have come up with. So a little bit of writing there, but not your technical writing credits, if you will. It's just kind of one of
Right.
the things. It's like with these legacy bands, don't mess with the formula too much. They have a sound and a style, and I'm the new young guy in the band, younger in comparison to everybody else. So I try to just fill my role and know my place. And if they turn to me for material or whatever, I'm happy to contribute. But I respect my position and just try to stay in my lane.
Well, okay, now of all the bands, so the Life project is yours though.
The L.I.F.E project is not. That one's actually
Cassandra too.
furthest from me. I play bass.
Really? Okay.
It's really Cassandra and Josh's baby.
Okay.
And they put out a couple EPs and stuff before I was ever involved. So this next one, yes, it is a band release. We all contributed it in ways. But that one, I'm just essentially a bass player for hire, if you will.
I totally get that. Okay, I'm gonna tell you this, and I keep trying to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait, but I can't. So for us, all roads are leading to Lynch Mob, and I feel like that's part of your story too. But check this out, okay? You guys have shows at the end of February of next year, okay, with Trickster, and there's a couple of guest people on there. It's like a RockTheLife reunion because it's East Coast, so Amy's gonna be there. So we've had Amy on our show.
Amy's Music Machine, yeah.
Right. And we've had we've had Steve Brown on our show. We've had Don Crash on our show, which may be guest drumming. We've had Keith St. John on our show. And next
Andrew
week's
Freeman.
episode that's airing the Wednesday following this recording is Andrew Freeman.
Excellent.
And we've had my husband who wrote our theme song and his old bass player from his band, because back in the day, they opened for Lynch Mob.
Awesome.
And so it's literally we started this podcast because our original story and our original thing was a whole Def Leppard thing, but it's evolving into literally all roads lead to Lynch Mob.
Weird,
We're
right?
oh my gosh, it's so phenomenal. I love it so much. So I couldn't wait to say that any longer. I was trying really hard, but there you go.
Story of my life.
Super excited. Amy, right?
I think it's kind of fun. Jaron, tell us, how did you first get in? We've listened to a lot of your George Lynch stories and how you were into Doc when we were younger, but tell us, how did you get into playing with Lynch Mob and George Lynch?
It's a many layered story, but the short version of it is, over the years, I've gone to a million Lynch Mob shows, and as I got older and more into bigger and bigger bands, and, that kind of leads to knowing more and more people. And, I guess the short version of it is we went and saw Lynch Mob in Colorado Springs back in 2019, and Cassandra was with us. It was a tantric tour. So all the tantric guys went down and we wanted to hang, and we knew the venue owner. So she was like, hey, if you want to get in on the meet and greet with George, I'll scoot you in at the end. And we're like, yeah, no, cool. I had met him before, but it was like, whatever. So we met, we talked, and, expressed how, we jam Lynch Mob at tantric sound checks all the time because the singer would never show up for sound check. So we would just play whatever we want. And we would tell George that, and he's like, oh, that's great. And so he thought Cassandra was the singer of tantric. He wasn't too familiar with the band. So he invited her to come up and sing. And, when that happened, I think, she's phenomenal. So, that only gave everyone else in the room that much more credit. We're with her, From that point forward, he always was like, you're the guy, the bass player with the girlfriend that sings. And, it was this whole thing. And then, fast forward a few years, it was working with the same crew guy. John Thayer was our tech and he is George's tech. And so we kind of merged the tantric Lynch thing there a little bit. And then after a while, of showing up to shows, George is just like, why? You're here again? Why are you here? How do you come here all the time? I feel
like that really gave you an understanding into Amy going to all of the shows. She was telling us all the shows that she'd been to. She was like, I've seen them here and here and here, and I just travel. And I'm like, you're saying the same thing. And I'm like, okay, I love this.
Yeah, I mean it's a passion, when you feel strongly about something like that, and
Mm-hmm.
I can relate more than
You
anybody.
follow your favorite bands. Yeah.
So
I love it.
we try to facilitate that and make it as easy for people like that to come see the
Mm-hmm.
band and achieve what they want. And she's been super great and helpful to the band over the years now,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it feels like a little bit of a little family we got going on. So it's when you have people like that flying the flag for a band and representing,
Mm-hmm.
it's something you
That's
can't
good. It's
really buy.
amazing.
You can't buy support like that. You can't really
Mm-hmm.
fabricate that.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been very
Mm-hmm.
lucky, and we've got a ton of great fans all over the place, and friends that have become, from fan to friend over the years, and that's one of my
Fan to
favorite
bass
things.
player.
Yeah,
So I
you know,
didn't mean to interrupt your story and derail it. I was kind of like, oh my gosh. To me, it blows my mind to be in a position like I went from being a fan and going to multiple shows and having, George say, you're here again and all of that. And to recognize that, to being up on stage and having a very privileged honor bestowed upon you.
no, tell me about it.
So, what was
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
What was that like getting that bass?
I mean, pretty much it was one of those things where we kind of like joked about it, me and our buddy John. Hey, if you guys are ever in the shop making any guitars and you want to make a bass, like if that idea even interests you at all, like let me know,
I'm your
and
guy.
yeah, I'll do what I got to do. And then it kind of like got back to George. He's like, so I heard you're maybe interested in getting a bass done. I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, why don't you send me some supplies, and whatever. So I did, and then a year went by, and I just never brought it up. It's just like the guy's busy and he's doing
Mhm,
work for other people and getting paid and making great, instruments for
mhm, mhm,
paying customers. So I just figure if he ever gets around to it, great, and if not, I really was just like not expecting it. So when it finally materialized, I was just like floored, and then to be given it as a gift, I mean, the honor is something I can't really put into words. I mean, I sleep in the bed with that thing if I could, but
right?
yeah, I after that Lynch Mob final ride back in March, I was like, I'm gonna put this thing away for a while and let it, just
Oh,
be its own, thing here. And so I've kind of retired it for a little while. I'm sure it'll come back out, but it's something that I just couldn't even imagine letting go of or ever, putting it in harm's way. It's traveling with something like that. A special instrument is always
Mhm,
risky. So
mhm,
uh,
mhm,
after kind of coming off that tour and putting that thing away, I was like, I'm going to build my own because I learned a lot from George. So I'm going to build my own, pretty much a replica of that in terms of all the pieces. Looks a lot
mhm,
different, but I just loved it so much. I'm like, I wish I had one I could just like throw around and not have to worry so much about.
mhm,
So
mhm.
the current one that I have out on me with me on the road is a black one, and it's essentially the same kind of thing as the one he made me, but a different look. But yeah, it'll make its way
And
back
did
out at some.
Right.
you the one you're playing with now? Did you put part of it together? Did you create it?
I did. I made the whole thing. Actually used
Wow.
some sentimental pieces. I had these like little skulls from a bracelet that I was gifted that the bracelet broke, and I was like, one day I'm going to do something cool with these skulls. And so I drilled them into the base and kind of made this whole thing with it.
Oh.
So it's got some sentimental value as well, and it's the first one I ever
Mhm.
really built for myself. So I kind of
Wow.
learned that from George and applied it to my life now. It's
Wow.
invaluable information that I've
Yeah.
gathered over the years now.
And what better person to learn from? Oh my
Tell
gosh.
me about it.
Um, for those, because we just kind of alluded to it. So for those who are like catching up and kind of going, what are they talking about?
I know. I
So
feel like we're, yeah.
yeah, in case somebody doesn't know, George Lynch has his own guitar company, Mr. Scary Guitars, and he makes these amazing instruments. And I'm married to a musician, so I hear about it all the time. And I'll get to that in 1 second and tell you something. But you were gifted the very first Mr. Scary bass, and
First
it
and
was
only.
created first
I
and
was going to
only,
ask
to
that.
be
Is there any?
clear.
It's the
So
only
that is
one. Okay.
huge.
Everybody wants
And
one now, but
I know.
You're like,
I'm sure. Who would? Actually, we saw Lynch Mob. We've seen Lynch Mob a number of times, but we saw Lynch Mob in Oregon at kind of a festival, but it was like Under the Stars or
Stars
Under the
under the Sky.
Skies or yeah, and we were there for that and, watching the show, and my husband leans in my ear and he goes, that's the only Mr. Scary bass," and he was like and he tried to put a dollar figure on it, but I'm like, "You just can't do that,"
No.
but it was like, "Oh my gosh." It was just to see you live with it and just to see that show. It wasn't a very crowded show because it wasn't well publicized, so it was great.
It's a
I
very
mean, the
interesting
Amy
show was
was
setting.
singing. Was that
phenomenal.
Oni Logan singing that one?
No.
No, that was Gabriel.
Gabriel. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and, yeah, it was phenomenal. It was great, and, we listened to in prep for this, we listened to your interview with Big Talk Nation. One of the things that you said was that, Lynch Mob mixes it up, or George will mix it up, so you're like, might as well not even have a set list, you just have to know what you're doing, and, one of the things he says, he's, like, having this conversation, and he goes, "So what should we play next?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "Hold on, what should we play next?"
It's a
I
very
was like, "Oh, I thought it was
interesting
great."
dynamic for sure because, we do make a set list every night, and depending on who's in
Mhm,
the band or, what the situation is, there is a large list of songs that we all collectively
mhm,
know. So where
mhm,
most bands, say, oh, this weekend we're going to play these songs or whatever, we try to do that. But when I'm preparing to go back out, I'll run like 60 songs in rehearsal by myself
mhm,
just in case he just starts playing one of
mhm,
them. He does that a lot. He doesn't say anything and
mhm,
then I'll start playing a song we don't really play. And it's like, you just
mhm,
have to be ready. And so,
mhm,
I try to be as prepared as possible, but, that's the beauty of a live band. It's that you can play whatever you want,
Yeah.
whenever you want. And I think when you
mhm,
doing it as long as he has, and fans have been coming to see the band for as long as they have, it's nice to offer something different every night because
Yeah.
how many times can you see the same songs and yeah, it's live, so it's always a little different, but there's stuff that
Mix it up.
we came through twice in the last couple of years to half these places that we're still playing. So let's give them a
mhm.
different show this time. It makes it worth coming to
Yeah,
see again.
yeah, yeah,
So,
always.
what songs are hitting the hardest for you? Which ones have you really enjoyed playing?
Oh.
Some of my favorites are Street Fighting Man for a Million Years. Those are some of my favorite Lynch Mob tracks. Let the Music Be Your Master, which is a later 2000s era Lynch Mob track. That's a real
Mhm,
kind of like
mhm,
a jam oriented song. But I love playing all the Dokken stuff too. We do our fair share of that stuff. Like Kiss of Death, and Lightning Strikes Again. I like the hard and heavy, and with this particular lineup, we do a bunch of stuff that we haven't really done too much with the other guys. So
mhm,
we're still figuring our way through it and adding in wild cards.
mhm,
There's
mhm.
really not one song in the set that I don't enjoy. And most bands that I've played in
Yeah,
the years, it's like, oh, this is all great. And then there's like two that we do for someone else in the band that wants to play them, But with the
mhm.
George set, there's really no weak spots for me, and I'm happy no matter what he wants to play.
Okay.
Right, right.
Well, and speaking of,
I
go ahead. Amy.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I really wish I'm hoping for some West Coast states outside of the whiskey, because that's a 16-hour drive for
Yeah,
me. To see Andrew, I would really love to see Andrew hit some of those notes. I saw him with Pyromania recently, and I was blown away.
yeah, he's
So I was
incredible.
like, oh, I want to see that lineup so bad.
Yeah, we'll be
So,
out there, I'm sure. We're booking into next year right now, and there's
mhm,
no
mhm,
really stopping point as far as, a discussion goes. So I'd imagine we're just going to keep adding until we can't, So just keep
eyes
your
wide
eyes
open.
open.
Uh-huh. Yep. I keep checking. All right. Sorry, didn't mean to. Okay, go. Your turn.
No, and I was going to ask, like, for some of the fans that are showing up at all the shows, are
Mhm.
they repeat fans coming? Um,
Oh.
It's both.
okay.
It's new and repeat. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, as far as a touring musician goes, and you tend to have fans that come from band to band to come see, a particular
Mhm,
member or whatever, and like, oh, I never knew
mhm,
Yeah.
Lynch Mob or I never knew Tantric or whatever. Um,
mhm,
and so, yeah, I have found a lot of them have crossed over or merged in, but there are diehard Lynch fans out there all over. I'm in all of the Facebook groups, and I do a lot of the paying attention to the social media stuff and interacting with the fans.
mhm,
So I know there's a ton of fans out there that we haven't been able to play for yet in certain states, the Carolinas and certain areas. And so, Washington. So there are new faces still coming to all the shows, but I feel like we still have a lot of unfinished business in some of those other areas. So um, I think as long as there's still a new, younger fan base and people are still buying tickets, there's a reason to keep going out.
I
And are
just
you
thought of
seeing a
something.
younger
So
fan base like being introduced to the music now and heading out? Like it's 'cause you're like you were probably about half the age of George too, which is just blows my mind too. So
Yeah, I
you
mean,
are part of the younger fan base too.
I am part of that, yeah, for sure. But
Yeah.
it's the parents that are passing it down, and the kids that are picking up guitars and reading guitar magazines and seeing, George and seeing all these different things. I think that kind of never really stops. It might slow down as the
No,
generations go by, but
so
we see
amazing.
it for the young kids. I mean, young. I mean, 10 years old, 9 years old, sometimes at the shows, and I don't even think they realize what they're really seeing yet. But they know the songs, and then you just go up from there to the teenagers and the young 20s, and there's a little bit of
I
everything,
love
but
that. No, I love it.
you know,
hmm
cater to everyone.
hmm well, that's at the Guitars Under the Stars. That's what it was. Yes. George, we actually peeked into a tent and saw George doing a group lesson with 10 to like 15-year-olds.
Sure.
And it was like, oh my
Oh,
word.
that's
Can
right.
you even imagine? I
Yeah,
just can't even imagine. Oh,
I think things like that are where you really make an impact or an influence on
mhm,
someone. And I
mhm,
remember just a
mhm,
couple of those kids walking out of there just like awestruck, and not so much,
mhm.
oh, it's George Lynch, because whether they could comprehend that or not, but just
Yeah.
watching
Yeah.
him play. I mean, when you watch him
hmm
play, it's an experience. It's not just, oh, I just watched some guy play guitar. It's more just like that guy became one with the
Did
guitar.
he
And
do?
I think
hmm
from a musician standpoint,
hmm
that's something that you can't buy, and that's an organic thing that you just have to
hmm
witness and experience. And so, I think those things are really important to do those little clinics and those little lesson things, because you're influencing the next generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is an experience because I remember usually when I'm at a show, I'm looking at the whole band where I'm watching the whole show, I'm taking the whole thing in. But I happened to be on George's side of the stage, and I told Katya when we were talking about it, I was just watching his fingers. Like, I don't know what it was. Like, I've never done that with another guitar player before. I've usually just kind of taken it in, and I took in the whole show. But there were just times when he would be standing right there that instead of looking at like the whole person, my mind was just mesmerized, and I was just watching his fingers. I'm not a guitar player. My husband will do that because he's a guitar player. I'm not a guitar player. I'm like, why am I doing this? But I just couldn't help it. It was like, holy crap, that's magic.
There's
That's
a
magic.
reason. There's a reason. There's guys, from that era are regarded in such a high way, because
Mm-hmm.
there's very few people that just naturally gifted like that. There
Yeah.
are many throughout
Yeah.
music, but in terms of our genre, what we do, and pioneers of the craft, George goes way back to the '70s with Eddie Van Halen and Randy Rhoads in that era, and these are our iconic guys, and he's the
Mm-hmm.
last guy standing
Still
really
doing it.
from that early wave.
Seriously.
So
Yeah.
there's a reason, he is where he is. So
Yeah.
it's just a spiritual, encounter and experience when you see somebody like that perform.
Mm-hmm. 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 I just feel like, did you ever get to the point where, okay, so this is getting started for you. You're sitting in George's house, kind of working this stuff out. In that moment when this is coming about and you're like, holy crap, this is going to happen. This is going to be my life right now. I'm going to be a part of this. Where's your head? Like, are you just like sitting there and holding your shit together, but inside you're just kind of going, what the hell is happening right now?
I think for me, my head was, I better make the bed. I better, like, make a good impression here.
Right.
But
Mhm.
no, it was something that when I first came in, I was just sitting in for the first 4 shows, like helping out. He needed
Yeah.
somebody just to sit in, and so at those early stages, I just felt like I'm just taking every gig one at a time and just gonna like mentally prepare and play as good as I possibly can, so that if this is the last time I do it, I can say
Oh,
I did it proudly. I put all my efforts in the right places, and so
Mhm.
it was never, okay, this is going to be my life. And even still, I don't really think that way. I just say, okay, we're talking about the next weekend, so that means I'm in. That means I'm
Yeah.
there. And,
Oh,
you know,
that's
even
neat.
though I've been in for almost 4
Oh,
years now,
mhm.
I still just take it one at a time. So
That really gives you a sense of gratitude. That really holds on to I love that perspective of, "Okay, I'm still
Yeah.
here." I enjoy that. I feel like I don't know. I feel like George and I don't know George, but just looking at how you guys mesh and all of that, I feel like he probably has a really great respect for you. Um, because it takes a lot of talent to work with someone of his caliber. So kudos to
Yeah.
you
thank you.
and the whole path that you've taken in order to get here, because that's a big those are big shoes, I feel like.
It's a lot of work and, you know, it's
Mhm.
a constant, reminding myself to work harder and just always push to the next level, and I just never let off the gas since I started
Yeah.
this thing. So until my last show with
Oh,
him, you know, I
yes.
will always be giving 110% and beyond. You know, that's just the way that I'm wired, but especially for him,
Mhm.
you know, I'll go above and beyond any day, whatever it takes to ensure that, you know, he's still enjoying himself and, preserving that integrity
Mhm.
of greatness.
Yeah,
Yeah. No,
it's amazing.
seriously.
Okay. Okay, I got my fan. Um, Jared, we're like I'm just a huge fan of like I said, I've gotten to see you live. Really only once. Which I'm hoping for more. Hint, hint. West Coast, left side, left side. But I kind of feel like I've dominated the question. So Katya, I know
No,
you
please,
have
Abe,
so
go
many
ahead. I love
more.
it.
Go
I love it. Well, no, and so when you're touring now,
ahead.
how many days in a row are you touring? Are you doing just weekends, or do you giving yourself any time off, or how are you preparing for this? Because it's
Right.
been nonstop.
Right
Mm,
now, we're pretty much just doing weekends here and there. After the end of the
Okay.
final ride, George was kind of saying, I want to play. I just don't want to overdo it. I want to play at my own leisure and
Absolutely.
when it makes sense and is
mhm,
worthwhile. So we've been doing that for the second half of the year, you know, weekends here and there, 2, 3 shows in a row. Come January, when we start back up with the Rise of the Decades thing, you know, it'll be a couple weeks on, a couple weeks off,
Oh, that's
which is
great.
probably
That's
the
great too. Yeah.
extent
nice.
how much we'll really do, you know, straight. But yeah, I mean, for us, you know, we play only on the weekends. They call it weekend warrior stuff, but
Mhm,
they're
mhm,
good quality shows. So we don't need to
mhm.
play every single day during the week and burn ourselves out to really make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
But it is like one of those things like, you know, when the guys show up at the airport the night before the first show for the weekend, you know, everyone's like juiced up and like ready to play. You know, they've been cooped up at home all week doing family stuff and whatever. And it's like you're out with the boys and ready to let loose. And it adds a little bit of excitement to the whole
Mhm.
thing, I think. So I've been enjoying that a lot.
That's
That is,
awesome.
and I have to ask you,
It leaves room
how,
for other projects too.
no, it does leave room for other projects to work on too. Yeah. How are you guys picking which shows? Do you have a promoter that you're working with? Are you giving any input, or how are you deciding where you're
Yeah,
playing?
we have a
Good.
booking agent that, you know, they are the middleman. You know, they receive offers from promoters or they broadcast that we are going to be touring or whatever, and they kind of blast it out to the contacts across the world and say, you know, if anybody wants to book Lynch Mob, you know, they're available with this tour. And so the offers come in and then they relay them to us. And you know, we're kind of a boots on the ground band in the sense of, you know, I get in there and get down and dirty with the agents and try to work deals out with clubs that I have relationships with from over the years. And
Great.
so it's really a big team effort to put it all together. But to answer your question, we do have a booking agent that, you know, that's their job. They find us the work and set it up for us. But we're very hands on with that.
Okay, and how about for your social media presence
I'm
too?
just I'm
Oh man, we got a whole team. So George's daughter Mariah handles a lot of that, and
yeah.
you know we've got a webmaster and things like that, and you know we try to essentially ready the materials and have everything you know there as far as promoting the shows and stuff like that to make it as easy for them to just hit click, you know, post it or whatever. But they do a great job, you know, on their end updating George's website. Mariah does a killer job on Facebook and Instagram of just keeping all things George Lynch going on his pages and.
We've been
You know,
watching
there's a lot
that.
of
Yeah.
fan interaction, you know, guitar and taking video and sharing it. And, you know, they do a great job at posting that and sharing that and spreading the word and the love.
Yeah, they do. I actually, as you're talking, I'm like, okay, I want to see you at this place and this place, so I'm going to send out emails.
All right.
So, it
Amy's
doesn't
going to
hurt to
push it
have
to
fans
promote.
request your presence.
And are you
I love
playing
that.
primarily in the US with
Yeah.
Lynch?
Last year we went to
Yeah.
Australia.
Okay.
And we talked about doing Japan, which hopefully will materialize at some point. But as far as like Europe and stuff goes, like at this point, George is he's at the age he doesn't want to
It's
do the
exhausting.
flight if it's
Yeah,
not
no,
really
it's a lot.
worthwhile. He doesn't want to go grind. He wants to just have fun and be comfortable. And so the European market's not really our biggest territory. So there are some places that we probably won't go, or you never know. Honestly, I can't say yes or
Yeah,
no,
that's
but
true.
that's kind of the reason why we haven't been out of the States too much, just for the sake of the interest, not being at the level that we probably want it to be. But you never know what's going to come up, and we are open to any offers and ideas. It's just kind of he's just kind of being selective. He wants to be comfortable and
No, he can be.
have
He
fun.
can
So
be, which
that's
is
what we're.
fantastic. I'm trying to think if I could be selective. It would be pretty much in Europe, but that would.
Right? Yeah,
I'm based.
maybe
I'm based out
Germany,
of Rome,
but yeah.
so yeah.
I'll go
And so
anywhere.
no,
You tell me where to go, and I'm there. But
Okay,
for him,
okay.
it's
Seriously.
a little more
Seriously.
sensitive.
Okay, so
Oh
now
my
I'm going
gosh,
to
I
talk
love
to you
it
about
so much.
other, like we've talked so much about George Lynch, and we're a podcast. We talk about fan experiences. Whether fans watching you or who you're a fan of. Have you got to meet any of your other music heroes that have really
Oh my
stood out
gosh,
to you? Because I
so
know you've
many of
done
them.
so many festivals. You've done the cruises. You've done the like. Who've been some other
Yeah, it's
of your heroes that have stood out?
it's hard to say, too much about it because yes, throughout my years of playing music and being a fan, first and foremost, I've met guys. I've met Jeff Tate and Don Dokken prior to the whole Lynch thing, like all these different things. And on the cruise, it's like a buffet of rock stars. You're just bumping elbows with everybody anywhere on the boat. So yes, I've met tons of people, Dio, just over all sorts of names over the years. But the thing about it for me is I kind of like don't chase that. I kind of don't
Yeah.
want to meet anyone unless it's organic and happens naturally. Because the few people that I've gone out of my way to meet when I was younger, as a young kid, weren't necessarily so cool or so nice, and so they kind of like it didn't ruin the music for me in my whole life, but like for a while there, I'm like, I don't want to listen to this. This guy was a jerk or whatever, and so it wasn't until I was old enough to really understand, and I was in this whole scene and understand that musicians are just people too. That doesn't mean that every guy, just because they do this for a living, wants to shake hands and meet everybody or be a part of the social circle. Some of these people are just gifted people that have a talent and they're kind of
Slightly
hiding in their
introverted.
home and
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. So like now I get it. So I don't try to like oh, I got to get an autograph or meet this guy. I steer very clear of that and more so just do it out of respect. Oh hey, if they want to say hi or whatever, it just kind of happens. But yeah, I kind of stopped like geeking out over that, like as a fanboy or a super fan.
Because
I
now
never
you're
really
one
was
of
that
them.
way,
So
but the important I guess,
Right.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I get it
I
from
feel
both
like
sides.
that's awesome. And I really think that that's one of the things that we really appreciate you in terms of knowing that. Because, a number of people that we've talked to surrounding Lynch Mob have said that about you, is that you're very appreciative of fans. You'll go out of your way to make sure that the fans have a great experience and just enjoy the show and all of that. So that's appreciated by fans, just coming from being a fan and knowing that that's how you treat fans is phenomenal and appreciated, even if you don't hear it. Like, I'm sure you probably do, but even if you don't hear it, we're like, thank you.
Fans are what make it possible. If you
Mhm.
don't treat your fans right, like what are you doing? Some people just do this for themselves, and don't get me wrong, I definitely do this for myself and my own happiness. However, a big part of that is the fans. The interacting and meeting people and just seeing the pure happiness that music brings to them. And so
I know that's exactly
if
it. Yeah.
me saying hi for a few minutes changes someone's trajectory for the rest of the month or the year or makes their day or whatever it is, I'm going to go out of my way as much as I possibly can to do that with as many people as I possibly can to make sure that, there's some love and support. You really don't know how much you touch somebody, after you go your separate ways of having your encounter, your meeting. And so I just always aim for the stars when it comes to that. It's just like, be nice to everyone. You never know what'll come of it. And, that way I can go home and go to bed, with a clear conscience.
Yeah.
Karma's real.
And we had one of those experiences. Yeah, it is. And we had one of those experiences that you were talking about when we were younger, and I didn't listen to that band for like 20 years. I can listen to them now, but it was a long time before I was
We
able
might
to
have been
like
slightly
enjoy
annoying, Amy.
that music.
Yeah, only in hindsight we can look at it like we might have been annoying. Well, so tell me about also when you're on the road now, what are you all doing with fan experiences? Is it a paid fan experience or are you going out before or after shows to see people or how's that coming about with with the tours right now?
Uh, it really depends. I kind of do my own fan experience where I don't really have the barrier like most people do. They don't, most musicians, they come in, they hide backstage, they go on stage, they disappear, or they come out to the merch table and do a signing. George, he's got some health stuff going on, so he doesn't really like to be in the crowds of people, and understandably so. Health is the most important thing. So, I think having me there and going out and seeing people and shaking hands, I think, and the other guys do that too. The other members, Brian and Andrew, they do that. So I know that that's appreciated, but in terms of fans experiences, like rarely do we do meet and greets where the venue sets it up and we do that whole thing. Right now, George is really just offering some really incredible meet and greet packages where it's more guitar based. He does a guitar lesson and gifts a guitar with the package and the whole bit. So we are doing those. But in terms of like your everyday, mingling with the fans, no, he's not going out to the merch table and stuff like that. And as much as I, wish that could be the case, I'm kind of glad that it's not, because the amount of work and stress and other things that come along with that can always derail the atmosphere of your little camp and your circle there. So, I know that over the years he's done that, and I know that he spent a lot of decades now trying to make fans happy and do all these things, and he's earned his time to just say, hey, I need to pull back for my own safety.
Absolutely.
So
yeah,
we try to make up for it with the other guys, and
well, that's
I'm constantly grabbing piles of stuff to have him sign it. I still try to make it happen for the fans.
Oh, that is.
Do you have an experience, and I think, Katya, you were about to get to this, do you have an experience that was impact from a fan to you that was impactful, like ultimately impactful for you? Like a fan's response to you?
Yeah, I think almost every show, I feel that the heaviness of like making an impact on somebody and having some kind of influence on them. But I've had fans gift me insane things to show their gratitude, whether it's gift cards to restaurants or cool handmade artwork, or I'm a Mountain Dew maniac freak. So I've had fans bring me Mountain Dew bases. I got 2 Mountain Dew bases. Like, who has a Mountain Dew base? I don't know, but I got 2 of them. So,
that's awesome.
It's stuff like that makes it, special and fun. And so I'm very grateful. I have some of the best fans in the world, whether they're fans of me or the band or whatever, but they always show their appreciation. And again, that's why I try to reciprocate and always be on the forefront of that.
I love it. The love language of gifts. It's a true thing. Yeah.
And that's not to mention the distances that some people come for shows. People drive 8 to 10, 12 hours sometimes to see a show, whether we know or not. So again, that's like for me why it's important that the show is good and interesting, and we don't half-ass it at any time. We're not just going through the motions to check. We're going there to deliver what we want to portray, and that's just the fun in the show and the excitement of performing.
Okay, so how did the whole thing with Heaven's Edge come about? Because that's another legacy band that you've had your hands into.
Sure, yeah. So I'm from the general Philadelphia area. I grew up half Pennsylvania, half Jersey. So Cinderella and Brittany Fox and Heaven's Edge. These are all bands that you never hear the end of. Everywhere you go in Philly, it's like the Eagles or the Phillies or the any of the teams. Like people are just so proud of those bands, and so naturally, of course, I'm a fan of all these bands, and Heaven's Edge was a band that kind of came back onto the scene 2012, 2013, something like that. And I got to finally see, I had the album and heard about it for long enough that I said, oh, this is great. And so just kind of being in the scene, in the local scene growing up and playing, I met some of those guys and have some sort of small relationship with, but it wasn't until Gigi, the original bass player, had passed away that it kind of became more than that. And that's when they kind of reached out and said, hey, we've been toying around with the idea of continuing, without Gigi, would you be interested in filling that role or stepping in to play bass? And so, of course, I say yes. At that time I wasn't with George yet, and I was playing in Tantric, which was a great band, but my wheelhouse is really the hard rock, the 80s stuff. And so that was like, oh, finally, like I got a gig like that I'm really gonna fit with, like, more than just doing the job. So it was a no-brainer to say yes. But yeah, I got the call when I was in London. I got a message online on Facebook or whatever, and I was just like, I'm sitting in this horrible venue in this like cellar, and like just got service for the first time in a couple of days, and all these messages came through. And I was like, oh, Mark Evans, like, oh, that's cool. What's he have to say? And then it was like, we're gonna try to push forward and do the cruise this year. Like, would you do it? And so I spent the rest of that European tour like learning Heaven's Edge songs, and as soon as I got back to the States, I went straight into an audition or a rehearsal, if you will, and that was that. So kind of one of those things where I wasn't going to let it, pass by, and I wasn't going to be unsure. It's just like, I'll say yes and figure out the rest later. So the rest is history now. We're going on 6 years. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I have to ask, like, you're a little young, but when you were growing up on the East Coast, like Jersey and like all these like great 80s bands were like from the East Coast, did you ever get to see any of them play?
So I didn't start really going to concerts till early 2000s,
I was going to say you were a little young. Okay.
I missed the heyday. Born in 88. So, I mean, half these bands were almost up by the time I was even like, But yeah, I've gone out and I've seen just about all of them. There's very few bands I haven't seen at this point that I like, but I spent my early years as a mega fan before I ever even played the instrument. So
which is so fantastic.
Yeah, so of course I've seen them. I know the history. I'm big knowing a lot about the scene and who's in bands and who's been in over the years, and like it's kind of like sports to me. I'm very aware of the stats, if you will. So coming into it as a player later on, as I got older, it was just like that was a strength. Knowing all this stuff because like even now we're in the car driving around telling stories on the road, and it's like I'll hear George start to tell a story that maybe the guys haven't really heard. But I've heard this story a million times from magazines or other people. And it's like, I already know what he's going to say. And it's like the weirdest thing. It's like, how do you even know about this? Like, you had to have been there to know. And it's like, well, I heard Jeff Pilson tell this story in an interview 20 years ago or, whatever. So, circling back to the East Coast part of it. Yeah. I mean, you got guys like Zach Wilde, you got the Skid Row guys, and everybody says Bruce Springsteen and Bon Jovi. Fine. I don't care. I'm a New Jersey guy, but the blue collar guy,
30 years older than you. Like it's a very different generation.
It is. But, I grew up, my dad is the same age as George. So, I was exposed to the great music growing up, and I had that education with what I became, immersed in all these years later. So I kind of like am the old guy there too. Like I know all these things. These guys spent so many years living. So it just fits that way, and I'm proud to know a lot of these guys, and like even my band, like right now, Lynch Mob is an all New Jersey band with the exception of George. Like Brian and Andrew, both from New Jersey, New York area.
That's
so
right.
it's crazy, man. I'm just like, well, I guess L.A. was great, but the hardest working guys I know were all mainly East Coast guys, and I'm proud to be a part of that, lineage of guys coming out of this area. So I fly that flag pretty proudly.
We also talked to Chris Caffrey, speaking of New York. So we're
That's
kind of
true.
like, we grew up in the Bay Area, so we're Bay Area girls. So in East Bay for me, San Jose for Katya, and it was kind of like we were surrounded by the Metallica. We were
Green
surrounded
Day.
by I
Yeah.
had a job at one point where I was a receptionist in high school, and my supervisor, in walks Chuck Billy from Testament, because
Yep.
they're friends. And it was like, huh, hi, okay. And I'm all of 16, right? So I'm kind of like, wow, kind of a thing. You never expect that in a little office in Pleasanton, California, but there we were. And
But we
so
always
we're
thought New
kind of,
Jersey was the place to be.
it's
That's just
true,
the other
and that's where I was
side.
actually going. It's kind of like, we had great experiences and great bands. I mean, my gosh, I will claim YNT till
Oh,
the day I die. You
one of
know
the
what I
best.
mean? But seriously, gosh, I want to talk to Dave Manichetti. But we were looking at it, we've been talking. It's like, man, we just feel like we need to hit the East Coast. Seriously.
It's just different.
Northeast, I should
It's
say.
different, yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
different. All the action came from the West Coast. Bay Area. I grew up as a young kid into thrash, so I did the
Mhm.
deep dive of all the thrash bands, and
Mhm.
LA
Mhm.
with the hair bands. I went through all those phases of my life,
Absolutely.
being
Mhm.
mega fans, but it wasn't like the East Coast where it was like, okay, we have Anthrax and we've got Overkill and
Mhm.
we got Skid Row and Bon Jovi. Fine. But as I got older, I realized, well, half these guys on the West Coast aren't from there. They all are transplants from all these other
Yes.
places. Brett Michaels from Pennsylvania and all.
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Mhm.
So, as much as, the West Coast had everything,
Mhm.
and that's great. Like, I now, as an older person, identify more with the East Coast
Mhm.
energy more so. And so
Mhm.
I have an
Mhm.
easier time now, like getting along with certain guys that like I know are from here. I'm like, oh, you get it. You come from the same
Yeah.
mentality,
Yeah.
the same energy. So
Mhm.
it's very interesting to see for sure.
Mhm. Mhm.
Well, actually, as I was
It's
even
hard.
okay, and this is like getting in the weeds, but like I was listening to an interview you did talking about all these like fast food places, and I am like, I have no idea what these places are. Being a West Coast
Mm.
person and now not like mainland
Mhm.
US. So I was cracking up. I was like, see, there's our regional differences.
Big time.
Oh my word. And you know what? Now that Chick-fil-A is on the West Coast, when Katya came to visit, not this past year, but the year before, she had Chick-fil-A for the very first time. Now,
I was like, I keep hearing about it.
I grew up for a time in Georgia up until I was 11 years old. So some of those East Coast places I'm familiar with.
Sure.
But Katya was like, I've never had Chick-fil-A. So,
Something that people don't think about because, like, for me, I've been having
uh-uh.
Chick-fil-A since I was a little kid. I never realized
Right.
until you literally just said it that they weren't on the West Coast this
Mhm.
whole time.
Mm-mm.
And I guess
Mm-mm.
that's the same with In-N-Out or Whataburger or
Mhm.
these other things.
Exactly.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's weird for sure, but it's like, for me, fast food is great and all, and you're on the road, you get what you can while you can. But like
Yeah.
for me, the thing that burns my soul is the East Coast Italian food, the pizza, and that's a notorious
Mm.
thing, and people know that. But going to the West Coast, I try to let go of that and accept whatever that is for the
Eat a
West Coast.
burrito. Yeah,
Burrito, yeah,
exactly.
and
Exactly.
whatever. So
Like
very,
like a Korean barbecue type stuff. Yeah, like you just go for the different. Yeah,
you cater for the culture
Mhm.
for sure. And
yeah.
so I've learned to appreciate that. But yeah, the fast food thing's weird because now as time goes on, these companies just become giants and then they're everywhere. And
Yeah.
you're in
Darn it.
China,
It's not,
McDonald's, it's ridiculous.
yeah,
Well,
it's not anything.
and I just have to laugh too. Like I live in Italy, so then we talk about like the East Coast Italian food, like the Italian American food, and then you compare it to like what they eat in Rome, and they're like, we don't eat this. I was like, but in America, they did some great things with Italian food too, though.
Yeah, well, Heaven's Edge will be coming to Milan, I believe, in May. And so I am very
Oh,
much looking forward to being in Italy and getting a taste of the real stuff.
okay. I'm gonna write that down. I'll be there. That will be, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get you all taken
You
care
have
of.
to
Just
be
keep in
there.
touch with me and we'll get you squared away. Come over to the show and
Uh-huh.
have a good time.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
Amy, here's your chance. Get that passport.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know. Can you believe I don't have one yet? But I need to. And May. May what? What else is May?
I can't really say any
Oh,
details.
We'll look
gotcha.
it up.
We're good.
It'll be announced soon, but
It'll be announced soon.
yeah, we're doing Sweden in I think July or June and May.
Okay, wait a minute. Are you doing Sweden Rock Fest?
It's
Is that
called
what's happening?
Malmo, Sweden. It's more of like a
Yes.
hair band style thing, and those are both Heaven's Edge shows. So
Huh.
more
I'll have
on
to
that.
look
I
up that
just
ticket.
Well, I just saw Heat on last Saturday in Germany. So I'm all into
So
my
we're
Swedes
like,
right now.
I love those guys, man. Jimmy and
what
them
is
are
on the
so
ticket?
sweet, and we did some shows with them in Australia, and then they were on the cruise, and yeah, great guys and great energy, cool band.
No,
Oh my gosh.
it was the last show of their
Sorry.
tour. It was that was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. I mean, at least the pictures that I saw, I wasn't there.
I know,
You're looking
can I even post some of those pictures?
No, seriously, Jaron, last day of the show, she sends me this. She sends me this video and she was like, they're all on stage in their underwear. And it was all the
I was like,
opening bands,
nobody
not
has
Heat.
pants
Heat was
on.
not in their underwear. But she was like, what's happening right now? And it was just the end of the tour prank, kind of a thing, but it
I love
was
it.
so funny. And so she sends me this video and I'm like, is this a German
So,
thing?
or Swedish. Like, that's what I was trying to figure out, like what was happening.
So funny.
Okay. So
Oh my
now,
gosh.
Jaron, we are going to, I'm looking at the time right now. I realize we've been an hour. So I'm going to give you some rapid fires.
Sure.
You don't have to give the first answer, but just some quick questions. Okay. What was the first concert you went to without your parents?
Oh, geez. I don't know the first one without my parents. Maybe a Slayer, an early Slayer show. I went because I think my dad wanted to go with me, but he had to work or something like that. So he like and put one of his workers in charge of me. He's like, hey, you take the night off and take my son to Slayer. I
Oh my
got a
God,
hold of it.
educate him.
And
Right?
I came back, my glasses were broken. I was all sweaty, a mess.
Yeah.
Got wrecked
Do
in
you
the
know if
pit.
that was the Titans tour? Do you know if that was the Titans tour?
No, this one was 2003 or 4. It was Mastodon.
Okay.
When they were like just coming out. I mean, they played this place called the Starland Ballroom, which is like this. It's a decent sized club, but it's like if you think Slayer, you think of a big venue now, And these guys, it was like the Still Raining tour where they had like the blood coming down from the ceiling, and it was just like
Wow.
see that in a small, intimate club. It was just something I'll never forget. It was really wild. And yeah, I think that was maybe one of the first ones. But the cool thing is my dad took me to everything because he's also a fan. So he wanted to go just as much as I did, Yngwie and Iron Maiden and you name it. I mean, we saw everybody and still continue to do so together to this day.
That's awesome. When I was in high school, my boyfriend at the time was really into thrash. And so we were seeing some of those bands in clubs in the smaller
I wish I
venues.
could have seen him back then. Exodus and all the Bay Area bands. Forbidden's a big favorite of mine. Violence. I mean, you name it.
Yep.
I still, play those bands to this day. And if they came around, I would be there. And
Yep.
yeah, it's one of those things you go through phases of life where you get into different genres of music or different corners of the the pockets of the discographies and all that. But at the end of the day, it all comes full circle, and it's like I still have got Slayer shirts and Testament shirts from when I was 25 years younger, and I still wear them regularly. So to have those relics
I feel
and
you.
those pieces is important.
I feel like it surprises people when they'll be like, bringing up a show or and they'll say, oh, you wouldn't know anything about that. And then I'm like, baby, I've been in a mosh pit. I know exactly what I'm talking about. And they'll be like, what? And it just kind of surprises, sometimes the different, things that people kind of find joy in, or at least used to when they were younger. I would not get in a mosh pit today.
Yeah.
No, we are gonna go actually see a totally not quite a different genre, but just a new experience. My high school girls and I are gonna go see Youngblood. Oh, that's what's in May. In Portland, and we got floor seats, and so that's gonna be not seats. We got floor. So we're kind of like, okay, it's been a while since we've done this. It's gonna be a blast. And that won't quite be a mosh pit, but it's gonna be crowded.
It's gonna be good
It's gonna
energy
be
and probably kinda
so crowded.
crazy atmosphere.
I'm really excited. It'll be something totally different. A new generation that's kind of launching things off, and it's kind of exciting to see. So I'm looking forward to that a lot.
And
That's
props
what
to you
was
for
in
being
May.
able
Like,
to score those tickets in 1 minute or whatever that tour sold out in.
oh, we did. I signed up for artist pre-sale, and I was online in time. And so we got ours the day before, and, literally, I was logged into my Ticketmaster account. I had my credit card number saved. So it was literally it's like, once I got in, it was turn the 2 tickets into 4, hit the floor button, 2 tickets into floor, and check out. And it went like that, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." And all the stories we've heard about people not being able to get tickets were like, I guess we were supposed to go. We were
Yeah, meant to
supposed to
be.
be there. So, it was awesome. I don't know why Katya's not back yet.
It's alright, she's
Um,
halfway across the world.
I know, but I'll just tell you, we appreciate you so much. Thank you for coming on the show
Of course, I
because
appreciate you guys having me.
I was so excited when okay, so here's the thing. We go through phases where, we'll talk to rock is like this family, right? And we're finding that sometimes we have to space out who we invite because everybody will circle around like one particular band or person. And when I saw you open that record, I was like, okay, now's the time. I was like, there's a lot of I could just see the excitement on your face, and, we've been following you for quite some time, we've had Cassandra on the show, and I was like, "It's too soon, it's too soon, it's too soon," and then as soon as I saw that excitement, I'm like, "Now's the time." So, thank you so much for reaching back out and saying yes and all of that. I
Of
really
course.
appreciate it. It's
An honor to, have people interested in what we do out here and, me in
yeah,
particular, so I always like getting into the
mhm,
deep dive of stuff because, you never know who you're gonna come across as an audience
mhm,
and who's gonna hear it and, you never know what
mhm,
you might say that might, influence somebody to do something, whether it's pick up a guitar or a bass or
mhm,
go to a
mhm,
concert or change the way they do things in their life that
yep.
ultimately is for the better.
I told you already we were listening to the Big Talk Nation interview that you did, and you said something on there, and you kind of said it here too, but it actually was very impactful for me. And it was kind of like when I think it was when Heaven's Edge called. You said, I had a desk job, or a 9 to 5, and I had a house payment and all this stuff. And I just kind of said yes and said I'd figure it out later. Like all the details of that, so when the opportunity comes, and I'm kind of like, you never know. Like, we'd really like to do some things with our podcast and kind of branch out and, maybe do a little emceeing, maybe do some fan experiences and that sort of thing where, we miss the old backstage era when you mingled
Mhm.
and you didn't just have a band come line up and then you kind of walk down the line. That's really awkward. So we've kind of talked about how we're gonna, evolve things and different things we'd like to do. And I'm like, okay. So that just reinforced me. If the opportunity ever comes, you just say yes, and then you figure the rest out later. You
Within
just you
reason.
don't you never know. Right. I mean,
Yeah.
I have 3 kids at home, so still, so I'm kind of like, yeah,
Priorities.
that. But I'm like, okay, so but it meant a lot to me to hear that and to hear that that was your experience and to see how it's all worked out. So I appreciate you sharing that. And so you're right.
Yeah, thank you. I still
Yeah.
try to live that way.
Mhm,
It definitely gets harder as you get older because you become more attached to things, but I think
mhm,
that is
mhm,
really the main thing that prevents people from getting to that next level or to
mhm,
moving forward, and that's just like, what is it worth to you, and what are you willing to sacrifice for it? And,
yeah,
that could be an ugly thing, an ugly topic, but
mhm,
for me, I just felt like I knew, and I still feel like I know what I want to do, and I know that if my happiness depends on it, then everything else can kind of go by the wayside for the most
mhm,
part
mhm,
to achieve
mhm.
that. Because the happier I am, the happier people are going to be around me, uh,
Yeah,
so forth.
that's
So
huge.
that's just the
Mhm,
perspective I try to keep in mind.
yeah. You have to feed your soul.
Yeah.
You do. Absolutely. Well, Jaron, this has been a pleasure. I'm sorry Katya's not here to say goodbye, but we'll figure out her internet and figure out what's going on.
It's all
But
good.
again, we appreciate you. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Amy. I really appreciate it. And, if there's ever a time you guys want to do this again or whatever, feel free to reach out. I'm always
Love
around and available.
it. We would love to. Absolutely love to. All right. Bye.
All right, see ya.
Thank you, Jaron. We have been talking about, I'm going to try to do him a special heart. We've been talking about him
Right.
for a long time. So
Mm-hmm.
I am so glad we finally
Mm-hmm.
had a chance to talk with him. And I hope everyone has a chance to see Jaron
I
as
know.
he's going to be touring with George Lynch.
Mm-hmm. 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 I'm so jealous. Now it's been put out there so we can kind of say it. You guys, if you're on the West Coast, East Coast, you have to know something exciting. Look, I got my Italian going. Did you see it? Was it on screen? So exciting.
And now I'm going to tell
Okay.
you to tell me, come on, come on, come on,
I
come
know, I
on.
know.
We'll talk
Hurry,
with our
hurry,
heads
hurry.
together.
Okay. Don Crash is guest drumming for Lynch Mob's East Coast 80s little tour that they have going on. And I say little, not meaning people involved. Mm-hmm. When did you get that?
Oh, at the show.
Oh my gosh. We have not talked about that.
It was a
Oh,
little picture of Don Crash drumming. A
mm-hmm.
little Polaroid, very sweet. But yes, so now Don Crash of Heat is going to be all roads lead to
I know,
George
right?
Lynch.
Seriously, he's going to join the All Roads Lead to Lynch.
Oh
Ricky
my
Thrash is
gosh.
going to be there. The cute girl from Can't Buy Me 80s is going to be there. It's like this whole 80s party, and there's 3 dates, and it's in February, the week after we're in Vegas. So February, we should have checked 27, 28, and March
We'll have
1st.
information on it. We'll
Yeah,
post
I'll
information on it
get
because
you
that'll
more
be fun.
information, but essentially there's 3 dates, 2 in New York, so it goes Manhattan, Albany, and Rhode Island. So those are the dates, or those are the places. The dates are the last weekend in February. So keep your eyes out for that. I'm sure we'll
Fantastic.
be sharing more of that. So exciting. I wish we could go. It is literally, you guys, if you go, it's literally going to be a Rock the Life party because Trickster's going to be there. So Steve Brown is going to be there. Of course, Jaron's going to be there. Who else have we talked to on that? Dawn's going to be there. Amy, I'm sure. Come on, Manhattan, New Jersey. I'm sure Amy from Amy's Music Machine is going
Maybe
to be there.
Cassandra Carson will pop in.
Oh, maybe. It's just going to literally be a rock. And I know we're forgetting someone. Who are we forgetting? Who have I not said that's going to.
Oh, Andrew Freeman.
And Andrew Freeman.
Oh.
How can we forget Andrew?
No, I know.
Like, I know it's somebody else. Come on. Oh my gosh, you guys. It's going to be incredible. I really hope you can make it. Send us all the pictures and, buy all the t-shirts right now so we can go. Okay.
It'll be amazing.
There it is.
It'll be
You
amazing.
guys, we hope you enjoyed this chat with Jaron. I really hope you get to see them on the road. Don't forget, as you go through the rest of your week, something very important.
Rock the life.
Rock the life. Oh my God. It's the nerdiest thing in the world. I love you, babe.
Love you too.